what's the interplay of transfer pricing with GST? I mean, we've heard of transfer pricing and customs, which we'll cover.
Yep.
But transfer pricing and GST, India, we have a couple of interesting provisions where, like you said, intrastate supplies are deemed taxable supplies, so you don't need to value it. But more importantly, cross-border transactions as well, if you're importing a service without a consideration. Is that an area that you're seeing some trends worldwide?
Certainly, I think it's definitely moving that way. So again, going back to the financial services sector within the EU, because they can't recover VAT, so the tax authorities do look at intercompany services that they have purchased to see whether there is a self-supply for VAT purposes and therefore a VAT charge which is not recoverable. And they're very much looking at the transfer pricing processes to understand those and to see whether they do give them additional tax. And obviously transfer pricing, the rules around transfer pricing don't necessarily equate or apply in the same way to a VAT supply. Exactly, and a very different objective to what they're trying to achieve. But a lot of the tax authorities are trying to manipulate those and to say, well, effectively, is that a supply for VAT purposes, and therefore is there the VAT charge? So we're definitely seeing more of a move to looking at those types of services to see they're taxed. And obviously, you've always had that for goods on the customs duty side.
I think customs has evolved over a period of time, and I think customs is obviously the next big thing with the trade measures globally, and we've seen a lot of countries, including India, wanting to encourage, and rightly so, make in India, and encouraging more business activity. What's your take? Where do you see this trade measures story unfolding?
Yeah, so, well, I think it's really exciting times actually for customs and GTA at the moment. We've got, sort of the globalization where businesses are trying to be more global and to sort of do business without borders. And then you've got the tax authorities and the government authorities being much more protectionist about how they protect their own markets. You've certainly seen the trade measures between, the US, where they've imposed sort of quite significant tariffs on goods coming from India and China, things like steel, aluminium, and then sort of a quid pro quo with India introducing tariffs for for US-based origin goods, and that's mirrored across the world. So seeing a lot of those protectionist measures, and as the rates have escalated, that obviously have caused businesses to look more closely at their
global supply chain.
Exactly.
I think also with the free trade agreement still being in place, that gives that opportunity to look at the supply chain while you have a base case scenario where the tax rates or customs duty rates are going up. But I guess some of the agreements obviously need to be honored, and therefore one can look at some of that.
That's right, yeah. So seeing what reliefs you can take advantage of to sort of reduce the duty rates. But I think just businesses just understanding a bit more about their supply chain and where goods are coming from and going to actually understand what could they have a better customs result by moving goods to a different place or taking them in from a different country.
That's interesting. I think in India as well, one of the interesting areas is that customs is now focusing more than just the revenue aspect. India is the signatory, and on the trade facilitation measures and agreement, they're a part of it. So how do you see trade facilitation agreement, and have you seen in other countries the customs authorities now focusing beyond the revenue and more on making it an ease of business focus? Is that what you see with AU programs and something?
I think again, it's what all authorities have been asked to do with the WTO guidance is to make sure that they've got more control over their customs policy and procedures. So we are seeing tax authorities sort of trying to gain more clarity and governance around that. So we are seeing AEO, getting a sort of AEO type accreditation to facilitate the swift movement, of goods through borders, and to facilitate trade in terms of speed and clarity over what the customs classification will be. So yes, that's definitely a move. We're also seeing a move to them looking into being a bit more having a green agenda, so trying to control movements of sort of more carbon neutral products, or even to introduce taxes to try and prevent sort of economic and environmental damage, but using an economic lever to do that. So I don't know if that's something next for India, maybe. I don't know.
You've got the focus. It's interesting and surprising that you bring this up. It's sustainability and what customs can play a role on the larger go green and
Yep.
from a climate control perspective.
Exactly. It's interesting how each country does something similar, but slightly different ways. Yeah.
That's
so,
right.
Yeah.
Excellent. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to your rest of your stay in India and wish you well.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Mahesh. Really enjoying it and looking forward to the rest of my stay.
Likewise. Thanks.
Thank you.